Thank you, Christiana. Good morning once again. Welcome to this webinar. That future ready accountants, innovation, transformation, and resilience in West Africa. I'm Franco Seitutu, as some of you may know, and I'm very, very, very happy that I'm hosting this session. And this session is coming on the back of the IAD, the International Accounting Day celebration that we have. And before we even get into it, I want to take a quick poll just to know from us whether or not we know the year that, the very first year that International Accounting Day was celebrated. So I'll be launching a poll very soon just to get our thoughts on it. In fact, accounting has been very good to some of us. It's what is actually putting food on the table. Can you let me know when the poll is launched? So I want to get some of our thoughts on when was the first year that International Accounting Day was celebrated. Okay. This is the Poland. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of people choose 1972. Yeah. Some others are choosing 1976, which is quite interesting. Just Monday, 10th November, worldwide International Accounting Day was celebrated. And if you may know, as you find that a lot of people have chosen the 1972, which is actually the right year that this day was celebrated. This was commemorated by the San Diego chapter of the California state of CPAs. So they first celebrated this day, and it's been 531 years since the father of accounting, who's called Luca Posulu, published a book called Samadhi Arithmetica. And this book is simply the summary of arithmetics, geometrics, and proportionality. That was the very first time that accounting started. Now, this offers us the opportunity as accountants to pause and take some circumspection, and because of how far that we've come, it also helps us to ask some fundamental questions about our profession. Accounting has lived through so many eras, and what is happening, even in my age, is that there's a lot of fear mongering that because of the transformation that is happening, it is likely that a lot of us will be displeased. In fact, the father of AI, Geoffrey Hilton, who won the father of AI, warns us that AI could eliminate many jobs, and this has even caused a lot of people. In fact, Elon Musk has been also advocating for universal basic income, and this is something that has been really, worrying some of us. And so today, I have on the panel people that have, vast experience. They have lived in and worked in so many areas. And these people, they've gone through different disruption. They've actually, for some of them, they've actually been in the third and fourth industrial revolution. And we are here today to take some advice and how they've been able to thrive and manage through all this period. Now, for this webinar, it is structured according to the theme that we have. So the future ready accountant. So we'll be looking at innovation, transformation, and resilience as it shapes the accounting practice in West Africa. Under innovation, we'll be looking at AI and emerging technologies. For transformation, we're looking at what is the evolving rules and the kind of skills that you need in this modern day world. Then for resilience, we're looking at risk management and ethics. Throughout this session, it is likely that as you're coming for this session, you may have some thoughts, some questions that you may not, something that may not be clear on. And while the session also goes ahead, you may also even have some questions that you may want to put before the panel members. It will be good to have those questions in the chat box. As when we get to the Q&A session, I would call out the questions and give it to our panelists. During the Q&A, we'll be given an opportunity to ask any question that you want. So without wasting my time, I would introduce our panelists so that we get into the panel discussion. So our very first panelist is a partner in the accounting advisory services in KPMG Ghana. He has over 16 experience in institutional assessment, capacity building, and business process transformation. He has guided many finance teams through digital transformation. And today, he will share insights on how accountants can leverage AI innovation to remain future ready. And so, Randolph, please, you may turn your camera on and say something to us.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Frank. Good to be here and great to share some perspective.
Good. Thank you very much, Randolph. Our second panelist is also a partner in accounting and CFO advisory KPMG in Ghana. She has over 20 years experience. She has helped finance teams move from traditional bookkeeping roles to strategic business partners. She's passionate about mentoring and developing future leaders. Today, she will discuss how organizations can seize AI-driven opportunities and navigate challenges and lead generative AI adoption responsibly. Bolanle, the name is Bolanle Afolabi. Bolanle, please, turn on your camera and say something to us.
All right, thank you very much, Frank, and good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here, and I will share some insights around how finance professionals can embed AI into their ways of working. Thank you very much. Looking forward to the session.
Thank you, Bolanle. Our last panelist, who is a professor. In fact, he taught me at the undergrad level and also the graduate level. He's an associate professor of accounting, governance, and sustainability at the University of Ghana Business School. He is a passionate educator and mentor. He trains the next generation of finance professionals through teaching, research, and capacity building. Today, our professor will share how academia is equipping future accountants for a world of AI and automation. What new competencies are needed? Prof. Simpson, it's in the name of Prof. Simpson. Please, you may turn on your camera and give us a word.
All right. Good morning, everyone, depending on where you are joining from. I am really elated to be part of this wonderful conversation. I must say that coming on board for this discussion, is a sign of the collaboration between academia and practice. So I'm really excited to be part of this conversation. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Prof. So now we'll move into the panel discussion, and here we'll be taking 3 rounds of questions. Then we'll come to our audience. The first area that we'll be looking at is the innovation. And I would first want to direct my question to Randolph. In Africa, just recently, MasterCard issued a white paper, and in the white paper, they're saying that the AI economy in Africa is projected to grow from 4.51 billion in 2025 to 16 billion by 2030. Mr. Randolph, you've worked closely with organizations implementing financial systems. How is AI changing the accounting and finance space in West Africa? You have the floor.
All right. Thank you, Frank, for the question. So maybe to start with, the accounting and finance landscape has been changing over the years. So from what accountants used to do in the past, we are now moving from being traditional scorekeepers or from the transaction side. And the expectation is that for the accountant of today to be relevant, you must pivot to the strategic level. So there is a change already at play as a finance person or an accountant. And that said, for me, what AI is doing is just helping the profession to accelerate the movement from the transaction level to the strategic level. So AI is accelerating that. And I'll just outline some examples of how AI is helping to accelerate that movement. So we are seeing now that there is extreme automation as a result of, or massive automation as a result of AI. All right. So some activities that some finance persons used to do, like record keeping, now you have solutions that are able to do that. Your data entry stuff, you have solutions that can do that for you. Bank reconciliations and stuff like that, you have solutions that can do that. AI has always been with us. It is not new. All right. Even for us, from a KPMG point of view, some years ago, we had an AI platform that we could ask some accounting standard questions and it will give you feedback. All right. So it has always been there. But now the shift to agentic. All right. So there are different movements. Now we are in the agentic era where you have AI tools that are mimicking human behavior. These AI can work autonomously. So take it as you having an assistant with you. So you have your finance function, you can have maybe somebody dedicated to do reconciliation, somebody dedicated to be responsible for AP or AR or financial planning and analysis and the like. Now you have AI agents that can do some of these things for you. So we are seeing massive automation. As I sit here today, we have developers that have come to us that are informing us about some of these things that they have done and asking KPMG how we can leverage that in our delivery of support services to finance functions. Okay, so this is not just talk. This is something at play. What we see also is that businesses are also associating or investing in this direction. Just the KPMG Global Survey, ECU survey that was released in 2025, we are seeing that 69% of CEOs are saying that they are dedicating about 20% of their investment towards AI. There is a McKinsey review of CFOs, okay, a survey that shows that from 2024 to 2025, so in 2024, you have finance functions, about 7% of the respondents were using AI. But in 2025, the year has not ended, but they saw 44% of finance functions adopting AI in what they do. So we can, the change is happening, it is real. We are also seeing that beyond the routine tasks that AI is doing, like reconciliation, invoice processing, and some of those routine tasks, even some complex accounting related topics or subject areas, we are seeing AI at play. There are tools now AI tools that can support with lease accounting or accounting standard interpretation and the likes. So it is not just the routine task. The routine task, we have always known that it will be extinct, or technology will help to move that. However, it is moving beyond the routine task and actually doing some of the things that you feel are judgment based and the like. So if you are an accounting profession or a finance profession here, the question you should be asking yourself is, where are you playing at? Are you at the transaction level or are you at the strategic level? If you are at the transaction level, then trust you me, you have somebody who is coming for your job. But there is opportunity for us to do for us to move to the strategic level. So there are a number of areas as finance professionals that we are seeing technology coming in, or AI coming in strongly. If you talk about your financial planning and analysis, there are AI tools that are helping you to plan and to forecast your working capital forecasting and all of that. You have solutions now that are purposely developed to help you to do that. These solutions can sit on your ERP workflows and all of that and help do some of these things for you. So that is the change that we are seeing. And this is not something that is only happening in Europe and in America. A lot of the time we say things will happen in those places, and then it will take time for it to come to our end here in Africa. But no, now we are also seeing here. The example I gave, I have businesses that have worked to us who are saying we have developed this. Can KPMG use this to enable them deliver work for finance functions successfully? So it is not just out there in Europe and in America, but in Africa as well. We are seeing these adoptions happening. So for me, the question to any finance profession here is, where are you playing at? Are you at the transaction or more the operational level, or you are pivoting to the strategic? If you are at the transaction level, then know that very soon, given the investment that businesses are making in that space, your role will be taken or can be taken. And so pivot to the strategic level. That is where we ought to be playing at. And that is where we can demonstrate more relevance in the times we find ourselves in. So thank you, Frank. This will be my submission for now.
Thank you, Randolph. Thank you very much for highlighting how AI has moved beyond routine tasks to handle complex judgment-based tasks. And I like what you said, that we should pivot to strategic level, to the strategic level. And this presents some opportunities and challenges. So, Bolanle, please, I want to find out from you, what kind of opportunities and challenges do you see for organizations adopting AI?
All right. Thank you, Frank. I would first of all like to say that AI shouldn't be a futuristic concept for finance and finance professionals in general. It's something that is already reshaping how finance operations are being carried out right now. So we shouldn't talk about AI from a perspective of the future. So the opportunities that already exist, I would like to start with the operational side. One key opportunity is operational efficiency. And it's still very surprising when we engage a number of organizations and they're still having issues around month-end closing, because that's actually a low-hanging fruit when it comes to AI. Beyond the existence of ERP that supports in transaction processing and even process optimization, a number of the ERPs are already embedding AI into the systems. And what we found out is a number of organizations are not keying into that to ensure that reporting and even core day-to-day repetitive tasks leverages those AI that are already embedded in the ERP. For example, I'm aware that SAP has over 100 use cases generally that can be leveraged across the functionality. Engaging a number of clients, it also indicates that companies are yet to adopt or leverage some of these AI. So the first opportunity really is from an operational efficiency, to see from the day-to-day accounting and professional activities, how can AI be leveraged to make it more efficient, to make it more accurate, and to make it more, move to strategic move. Because like we say, when those automation are done, we have finance professional freed up to be able to do strategic work. So that's the first thing. The second one is cash flow. We all know that liquidity is key for organizations. So leveraging AI for cash flow optimization is also a key opportunity. Beyond using your historical data, AI helps to bring in external factors. So you can look at, the market forces and all the external information that are available, and help forecasting accuracy, because it can help to ensure that the input and output from the forecasting is more accurate. So that's another key area that AI provides opportunities for organizations in West Africa. The other one is about real-time reporting. A number of organizations are still focused on the static reporting, which is done maybe once in a month, and in some other instances, maybe once in a quarter. What AI does is, when you enable it into your reporting or in the dashboard that is used for reporting, we can move from static monthly reporting to real-time reporting. And of course, some of the AIs that are even developed now provide insightful commentaries. So it's able to identify patterns within the data and provide commentaries that finance professionals can then review. So that's another key opportunity. So when we hear, it shouldn't be commonplace for finance professionals to say, I can't deliver management reports, or the executive or management team requires some real-time insights and you're not able to provide that. So that provides an opportunity to leverage AI to enable real-time reporting. Another one I also want to talk about is about financial risk management. Assessing the credit risk of the customer. AI can also be leveraged, because what it can do is to identify patterns based on the relationship with the customer, look at the payment history, and be able to advise, because it provides some initial insights in terms of the credit worthiness of the customer. So those are some of the opportunities that organizations can use to leverage AI in finance. But that being said, we know that, as you leverage the opportunities and take on the opportunities that comes with AI, of course, there are some challenges. And I would like to dimension those challenges into 4 key areas. The first one is, of course, skills. Because to use AI, the output still needs to be reviewed. You need to be able to put the right prompts and ensure that the right use cases that is relevant to the business and relevant to the circumstances are embedded in the tool. So the skill set is still a major gap in West Africa. Ability to do data analytics and identify where the data, the patterns are coming from, and be able to generate insight from them is still one area. I know that Microsoft is currently having a program that enables massive acquisition of AI skills, but of course, that is still the starting point. The second area I also want to talk about is the tools itself. Yes, and it comes in 2 dimensions: the costs and the availability. A number of OEMs are building in already AI use cases that can be leveraged in organizations, including finance. And of course, how are those use cases? How are they available to everyone? Of course, it comes at a cost. And of course, when it then comes to the open sources, organizations are also very particular about their protection and safety of their data. So there's also a challenge around the tool, both from a cost perspective and from a security perspective. The third area is data. We all know that AI feeds or provides the insight from data. And of course, it's not uncommon to find a number of organizations, even at this era, to have data quality issues. So you have, we work with a number of finance functions, and data quality still remains a very big issue across most organizations. The quality of the data, the availability of the data, the ability to cleanse the data with relevant information so that it can generate the insight is still a major issue. around adopting AI, because of course the output quality is dependent on the data that goes in. So having that strong data ecosystem is going to be very important to be able to harness the benefits of AI. I would like to also mention one final one, which is around the regulation. I know there's still a bit of concern around whether there is regulation that guides ethical practices and even the safe use of AI generally. Right now, it's still fragmented, and it's something that is also a bit of challenge to organizations as they embed AI in their processes. So in summary, the opportunities exist and it is now, and it's not something that, I mean, as professionals, we need to wait for. It is relevant to us immediately, and I would like to charge every finance professional listening here. First of all, start with your own task. Whatever is assigned to you, is there opportunity for it to be more efficient and done, I mean, so that you can, of course, move from being a scorekeeper or a bookkeeper to a strategic business partner. And then, of course, to be able to then unlock the full AI capability, we need to get the right tools, the right skills, and the right partnership. So I would say those would be the closing thoughts. Thank you, Frank.
Good. That's excellent. And as Bolali indicated, that AI is not futuristic. It is now. Actually, just as Randolph mentioned, we have some agents that we are deploying for clients that is able to work on routine tasks at the opportunities level. Bolali highlighted that yes, AI is able to improve operational efficiency, real-time reporting, and even assess the creditworthiness of customers. Now, at the challenges level, there's the issue of data analytics, that is skills in data analytics, which even moves us to the next question that we have. And for this question, I'll direct it to Prof. Simpson. Now, Prof, as an academic leader, how can universities prepare future accountants and finance professionals for a world of AI and automation?
All right. Thank you once again, Frank. I must say that from academia, we actually contribute to preparing accounting future leaders through research, through trainings, and of course, curriculum developments, and this is actually our core business. Research, training, of course, the training, we're looking at it in terms of the kind of curriculum that we develop, how we assess, them to ultimately be able to make some impact. If I look at, way back 1998 when I started doing accounting at the university level, and what is happening now, clearly there's been massive change. And I must say that it is as a result of, some of these things that I spoke about in terms of the research, the fact that you have those in academia who are getting themselves developed, getting exposures elsewhere, and so on and so forth. How are we doing this? How have we been doing this over the period? Once again, if you look at the curriculum, you are looking at the introduction of courses like AIs, accounting information system, something that was non-existent, in the past. There are courses like computer application, in accounting and finance, where students are exposed to most of the topical, ERPs. There are courses like business analytics, where students are exposed to, data mining, big data conversation. And in fact, I wish to even add that some of these things are even not happening only at a business school. We have computer science department. As you know, they are doing the mainstream computer, yet they will come to business school to pick accounting and finance courses and see how they can, inculcate that into the computer science, conversation. We have the actuarial scientists again at the university where they try to draw on data from the accounting and finance space, and that has ultimately helped, in terms of preparing our students. I wish you also add that when it comes to curriculum development, which is our core mandate, we also address, our minds to what are the current trends, what are the surveys. And I want to say that in recent time, there's been a lot of survey looking at the future of the accountants. And I wish to announce that there are about five main areas that those in academia are being encouraged to look at, and that has to do with sustainability reporting. In the past, you notice that, conversation around sustainability reporting or sustainability in general was more of an economics conversation, because if you look at the one who came out with one of the famous definition that we all keep, referring to whenever we are exposing people's sustainability, the person is clearly an accounting and finance person. Other terminologies like the CSR, CSR and other stuff, you notice that in all of this conversation, the accountants were nowhere to be found. But over the years, what do we see? Social accounting, environmental accounting, the measurement and recognition issues has come to the fore, and we see accountants, now at the forefront, where we are going beyond our normal financial accounting or the economic perspective, but we are also looking at, the social as well as the environmental issue. I again want to add, when it comes to also even the assurance space, issue around materiality, we knew of our financial materiality in terms of the financial threshold, but once again, accountants have come to the fore, are being trained, are being prepared to get to know that it is no longer the single materiality or the financial threshold for materiality we talk about, but now double materiality, and we are looking at the outward, materiality, what others call the impact materiality. So one area is reporting, and as teachers, professions should talk and talk. So if you don't stop me, I'll keep talking and talking and talking. Let me talk about the next one too, the next issue apart from sustainability reporting. Another area has to do with digital proficiency, and that is where AI comes in. There are programs or there are areas where students are given assignment. I can cite myself as an example, where I know whether I like it or not, they will use AI. So what I do is that I will really instruct them, go and use the AI, and I want to get a transcript of all the promptings that I give to AI. So I can track whatever you did. Then I can go ahead to find out, where can I find you in this? Are you just reporting what AI give to me, or you are also going through the process for me to see your impact? And in the process, you give them the feedback, so we can make do with that. Because if we think that AI is making students lose the critical thinking and that stuff, I want to say that whether you like it or not, it has come to stay, and we have to make do with that. Another area, the third one has to do with governance and ethics. And again, these are issues that we are inculcating not only by way of research, but in our curriculum. And let me add the last two: communication skills and presentation skills. These are the five areas that surveys, from several institutions, IFAC, and so on and so forth, are actually highlighting. And in developing our curriculum, we do include this thing so that we will be able to, as much as possible, get our students up to speed. That with the minimal training from practice, they are able to make progress. I want to also add the pedagogy, i.e., how we deliver some of this. And again, we have gone beyond just lecture approach. Okay, it has become more of an hybrid. And I'm glad, you said that, you happen to be one of my graduate students. So you are solving a question instead of using the blackboard kind of thing or using the whiteboard. What we are doing again is that you get live, maybe into Excel, soft, or you get live into a particular software, and they are seeing that. So it's not just the PowerPoint just talk about, but you again share other LMS tools so that you are able to make some progress. In addition to that, we are also partnership by way of internship where our students get the opportunity to have experiential learning. In fact, sometimes we even do some study tour, and I'm happy to say, despite all the constraints, some lecturers, some in those in academia are able to send their students to have field work in the area of accounting and finance, to go observe, do themselves, so they are able to make progress. I would say that, yes, we are not there yet, but academia is actually not lagging behind, because we are responding to the changing field of preparing people in accounting and finance, including the use of the AI tools and other automation, tools that can be adopted. Certainly, we are cautious. We are cautious of the threat. We are cautious of the opportunities, which I must say that my fellow panelists have actually clearly discussed not too long ago. Let me add that not only are we, preparing our students in that particular these areas, but as those in academia, we also preparing ourselves. How do we use AI to be able to deliver? So I have a course outline that maybe I developed a year ago, and I'm going to teach a new set of students. All right, what I can just do is just dump in there, give some prompting, and I'm able to get the latest conversation around that. So if, for example, somebody thought that, well, last time this is the course outline that is going to be the same thing, you join the class, you notice that there are addition, or perhaps even my slides. Again, I get some of these promptings, so I'm able to get the latest conversation, and we'll share with a volume number of students. Okay, the large number of students. Again, lecturers are leveraging on AI, inserting quizzes. So ultimately they'll be able to do more to get the best for our students. So let me also end here. As I said, Frank, if we don't stop me, teachers will talk and talk and talk, because we earn our money based on talking. Thank you.
Yeah, Prof. Thank you very much. And it is clear that future accountants will need a hybrid of technical and strategic skills. And one particular area that you mentioned that I think, yes, for your current students, they are very fortunate, because at the time that we were in school, we didn't get that privilege to have someone improve, even teach us how to prompt. And for that reason, I don't know, for now, we calling you Prof. Prompt. Now, we're moving to the next segment, which is transformation. So here we exploring the roles of the evolving roles of accounting, and the kind of skill sets that a future-ready accountants need. I'll come back to Randolph. So Randolph, in your line of work, you help organizations transform their finance function. Now, how do you define a future-ready accountant?
All right, thank you, Frank. So I think based on what Bonanle and Prof said, the future is here now, based on all that has been said. So should we even be talking about future ready? So I will frame it to say the accountant or the finance professional that will be relevant today and in the future, because whatever we are saying now are things that we are seeing. all right, and it is going to become more intense as we go on. So what I'm going to share is something that you need now. The future is now, not yesterday. The future is now. Okay, so for that accountant that will be relevant in today's environment and in the future environment, you must be, of course, your knowledge or your accounting expertise is fundamental, so that is key. So you must combine your accounting and finance knowledge or expertise with data fluency. You have to be fluent in data. You have to be digitally fluent. You have to be strategic, and you have to be agile. Okay, what that means practically, right, is that you need to leverage. So for your digital fluency, you need to be able to leverage technology and emerging solutions to your advantage. We should not be opposed to change. All right, it is happening whether you like it or not. Businesses are investing, and so you can imagine in time past or those days, you would go to a firm or an organization and they may not be using accounting software or even Excel and stuff like that. Now, if you go to a business and they are not using any accounting tool, you'll be shocked. That is the exception. All right. Because everybody is moving is using some technology one way or the other. All right. So you need to leverage emerging tech. So you need to embrace automation now to your own advantage so that you can focus attention on other things. So your digital fluency is key. Leverage technology if you are going to be relevant today and in the future. More enhanced and more immersive technology are going to come up. And you need to be ready to accept and work with that. See that as an enabler for you to move on. Two, data fluency. You need to be able to understand data and use data to tell story. As accountant, we work with data, we report and share insight. But what is the quality of insight that you share? What is the understanding of the data that you have or you work with? What story is that data telling? How are you informing decision making or informing the organization's decision? That is key. So not just data, you just put my financial statement together. No, that will not suffice. You need to be able to tell the data. You need to be able to tell story with your data and influence decision making, executive decision making. That will make you relevant. You need to be strategic in your thinking. You think, for us in accounting and finance, almost everything ends with you. So your understanding of the business and how you contribute to the strategic direction of the business is important. You cannot just focus on I've kept record, I've reported on time. That will not suffice. You need to influence strategy if you are going to be relevant today and tomorrow. It is not by accident, right, that you see a number of finance professionals moving on to even become CEOs and the rest. When you play within the finance space, you are at a better place to understand the business or the operations. Because what are you accounting for? If you don't understand the business, your accounting may not even be right. So your understanding of the business should not just end with just I have the understanding and I can account for transactions and all of that. But you need to leverage that to inform and to guide how things move into the future and help the business to grow. So, and you need to be very agile. So that is the accountant for me, or the finance professional that will be relevant today and in the future. And we are seeing that, given all the things that we are saying within the finance function now, there are some finance functions that are going to recruit data scientists. Okay, because data is going to be critical. You have finance functions now that may be even recruiting people that are more tech or automation people. These are things that are going to happen, all right, if it is not already happening. So for me, just to bring it together, you have to be very, very fluent digitally, be fluent data-wise, be strategic, and be agile. That is the accountant or the finance professional that will be relevant today and in the future. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Randolph. As you indicated, accountants have to be digitally fluent, strategic, agile, and I'll add one thing, which is leadership. So, Bolanle, how should finance leaders approach the adoption of AI?
All right. Thank you very much. I would like to start with for finance leaders, don't chase AI just because there's the hype of AI all over the place. Chase AI for the solution that it provides. So I would say the first thing is to start with the problem, not the tool. What are you trying to resolve? What are you trying to solve? So start with it. What is the pain point in finance today? Do we have slow reporting period? Do we have a lot of manual processes? Are we generating sufficient insight for management? Are they seeing us as business partners? Is our forecasting accurate? So you start with the problem, and that's the way it works. So when you start with the problem, you can then check, can AI help me to solve this problem faster, quicker, and more efficiently? So that then helps you to determine whether AI is the right solution, whether what AI tool will solve that problem, what are the use cases that are available, and when can that be done? And that takes us to the next step, to say, ask the right questions. I mean, we've seen people implement or leverage AI, and then what comes out is inaccurate because of the type of data or the resource that they do have. So you need to check, what's the return on this investment? What's the benefit of what workforce will be impacted? Are there roles that we need to move around? Do we have the right skills? Because it's also a different tool to embed AI in your process, and then you're not getting the benefit. So the return on investment and the ROI must be clear, so that we then know that are there risks that we need to consider. In embedding AI, are we using an open source? Do we have the funds to pay for our own kind of AI so that we don't expose sensitive data? Are the outputs auditable? Because it's also important that when you leverage AI in finance, you're able to have a trail that leads to your outputs. So are they auditable in terms of where you then need to provide the insight or accountability? Because like we say, even when you implement AI, the accountability still rests with us as finance professionals, because we still own the outputs. So are we exposing sensitive data? So the return on investment is going to be a very critical area when you're adopting AI in finance. The third area is sometimes we start too big, and then we then find out that we're not able to manage the outcomes. So start small. Look at the greatest pain points today. You've identified it. You've identified the tool that will help. You've determined that there's going to be the right return on investment. You've seen what the implication would be, and you've determined that the output is auditable. Then start with that. So once that is done, use that to then establish the right governance framework, because it's very important as businesses implement or embed AI into their ways of working, to ensure that the right governance and ethics is put in place. We still want ownership, transparency, and accountability in terms of output, because we know that the finance function is a trust-based function. Like Randolph mentioned earlier, we start from the strategy up to the end of the business, from a profitability or whatever growth ambition that the business wants to achieve. So finance is at the center of it all. So it's a trust-based function, and we can't say the output that has come, we don't own it. We still continue to own it. So we must ensure that the right governance is put into the AI that is embedded in finance. So once that is put, then you can scale. And that's the way it works. So once you started small, you've put the right structure, the right governance into the entire AI architecture, then you can then build governance around it to then scale, so that you then understand that this is structured and you know that the accountability is not in doubt. The last approach to, of course, adopting AI is to rethink your data strategy. So as a business that is embedding AI into its ways of working, it's very important to ensure that the data outflow and interfaces are very great. Because once you put AI on a data that is in a mess, the output will definitely not be in. So you need to ensure you have clean data. The data is structured, and where it needs to be interfaced with other subsystems or systems within the business, those are already done. Because if you don't fix the data foundation, then AI will just amplify the chaos. So it's very important that the foundation is fixed first, and of course, you will then get the benefits that comes with adoption of AI. So I'd like to then close by saying that, of course, like we've one of the questions that Frank mentioned in the beginning, that would finance professionals be replaced by AI? No, I don't think so. I mean, we've seen that, because even the output still needs to be reviewed. But what will replace, for finance professionals who don't use AI, will definitely be replaced by those who use it. So it's something that, yes, is not the tool that will replace us, but not using the tool will make other finance professionals to replace us. So this is a call to say, let's start it. Look at this process to adopt it, embed it in your teams, in your organization, and definitely the benefit would come. Frank, I will put it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bolanle. As we adopt AI, as you indicated, finance professionals who don't use AI will be replaced. And that means that the talent gap is very, very much important. So, Prof, we want to know what new competencies our accountants need, and how can we close the talent gap? What kind of partnerships and learning modules can help?
Okay, thank you, Frank, once again. I must say, from our conversation so far, it is clear that the technology capability of everybody or the future accountant and finance is actually at play here. Under no circumstance can you survive in this new norm if your technology capability is suspect. And of course, there are several options available: tools, free online courses. Not like, those days when we were in school, that even if you need an article to refer to, you need to go to the library and go and take a hard copy, and now they are all over the place. So your ability to be able to navigate through the technology space to get the needed knowledge, okay, the continuous CPDs, so you'll be up to speed. It is a competence that is actually required. I wish to add that, within the space of this AI, sometimes people would think that, oh, we are losing critical thinking. I must say, and I think my fellow panelists made mention of that. Yes, critical thinking and problem solving. Critical thinking and what? Problem solving. These are so important, because even some of these tools that we are using will bring some results, and you need to what? Critically assess them to be able to find out whether these things or the other will work well or the other. And I want to maybe also emphasize something that Bolali also mentioned. Sorry. Yes, I almost crucify your name. Bolali actually mentioned the issue around problem solving. So if you are targeting a problem, then the next thing is what? What are the various options, available? So what happens is that you look at the various tools and you then triangulate the feedback. Then you're able to get the fit for purpose solution. So the issue one is that what technology capability, you must work on that one. Critical thinking and problem solving is also another important. And let me add, another one, and that has to do with what I call system thinking. As accounting and finance people, if you don't take care, you'll be going through what we call the linear, thinking, or the circular thinking. But we all know that system thinking here means that you are exploring all options you are looking at a broader issue than what is actually at stake. And for us to get this thing done, that again can come from our learning, and other things which I'm actually going to be talking about, okay, later on. Let me also add the issue around adaptability, flexibility. In academia, I mean, accounting field, in the process of trying to explain the phenomena, we have come across certain theories in sociology, psychology that best explains that. The future accountant should not think that I want to focus on only the things that I need. They need to be adaptable, flexible. So go beyond the accounting domain, accounting finance domain, get into other fields, psychology, sociology, science, like Mother panelists we're talking about. And in that process, you are able to become relevant. But if you want to get stuck to debit, credit, technicals you are talking about, not at all, you cannot make progress. So we want to look at technology capability. We want to look at, as I indicated, critical thinking, problem solving. You also want to be looking at what system thinking, and as I indicated, you also want to look at flexibility and adaptability. How can we do this? Classroom is good, but I must say that the most important one that we are doing is the collaboration. I really cherish this relationship having with KPMG, where there'll be an opportunity to share experience, you get to know what is going on there, so we are able to modify our curriculum to as much as possible, meet the growing needs, in our space. And for me, I think that the relationship need to be bi-directional and also mutual. It shouldn't be academia going to industry, but industry also coming to academia, and that will really go a long way to address this particular talent gap that we are facing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. As you've indicated that it is good to have tech capability, critical thinking and problem solving skills, system thinking, flexibility that is going beyond your current field, then the collaboration. And building our competencies also involve understanding risks and ethics. Now, we'll be moving to the last phase of this session. We'll be looking at resilience. Here we'll be talking about risk management and ethics. I'll come out to Randolph. Randolph, there's this article that Africa internal auditors predict that digital disruption, including AI, will be second only to cybersecurity as the greatest organizational risks within 3 years. At the same time, climate risks are rising. How can organizations implement enterprise risk management frameworks that address cyber risks, data privacy, ethical AI? Thank you. So, Rudolph, may take the floor.
All right, thank you, Frank. So in this, there are a number of things, and some of them have been mentioned, right? When we talk about risk, and in this case, in this context, evolving technology and all of that, for me, the first question is how all these link to the strategic direction of the organization. Risk is never in isolation. Risk is to help the organization do things such that they achieve their strategic objective, right? So in adopting AI, in adopting whatever emerging techs that are coming up, what is the linkage to the strategic direction of the organization? There has to be that clear linkage, right? So if we will look at AI, for instance, then we would say your AI strategy. What is your AI strategy? That AI strategy must be contributing to the overall business strategy. so the organization meets its goals, because organizations are here to achieve certain purposes, right? And that need to be met. So that said, if we move away from the strategy and the strategy alignment, then now we can look at risk that is end to end, right? Enterprise wide risk, where we are then defining the various policies, your appetite, and all of that, to be sure that we then again meet the specific objectives that we have set for ourselves. Let me just give a few examples. In the midst of AI adoption and all of that, I don't know, you've heard one of our competitors in another country, they leverage AI to publish a report, and they are actually being fined several thousands of dollars, right? Why did this happen? This happened because whatever risk management framework or whatever governance they put around that wasn't well done. And therefore, it has put the organization, one of the fear of you taking something out there, leveraging the tech. We want to leverage emerging tech, AI and the rest, but it has to be done right. So if you don't put in the relevant framework or the relevant risk framework, you then stand this chance. That fear can occur, and this could affect you reputation wise, right? Therefore, it's important to, as we look at adapting and embracing all these tech, for us to be that resilient, we cannot compromise on risk management. Risk management is key. We need to, as an organization, you need to look at all these things that you want to do and say, how are we going to mitigate the risk, the potential if something goes wrong? How do we address all of these? So that must be clearly defined in order for us to use this and to build resilience in what we do. The other one is talent and change management. How are we preparing people as an organization? How are we ensuring that they can leverage or use these things right in order for the business to extract utmost value? If you don't, as a business, train your people, so prof and those in academia are preparing students and all of that, as a business as well, you need to also take interest in preparing your people, because if you don't prepare them well, the risk of them doing things that ultimately you will pay for is high. If today somebody in KPMG goes out there or do something that is untoward, the first thing that will be mentioned is KPMG. So the example I gave first of one of our competitors who have sent a report and there's an issue, the people who presented that report are not being mentioned, but it is the organization. So as a business, you cannot shy away from not investing in training your people in such a way that they are able to effectively use these tools or use this technology in a responsible manner, because what they do ultimately will affect you. So for me, that is key to ensuring that there is that resilience built into uh, we using or adopting AI and emerging technology and all of that. So one, there has to be that strategy alignment. Whatever you're doing, there must be that connect between the business strategy and your AI strategy or whatever technology tool that you are adopting. Number two, you need to look at it from an enterprise-wide risk point of view and make sure that all the loopholes and the rest are all addressed so that you as a business, you are protected. And number three, talent. How you develop your talent so that they can effectively support you as an organization to realize that ambition is key, so they don't put you at risk. If you don't do that, you may be shooting yourself in the foot, and you may put yourself at huge risk. Your reputation may be impaired, and once your reputation is shattered, you know how difficult it is to get it back. So these three things are things that I feel that businesses can look at as they seek to build resilience in the midst of all this AI, AI and all this emerging tech, and to be responsible about the use of that, and to do it well. So this will be my submission for now, Frank. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Randolph. So strong risk management framework and effective change management. Now, Bonali, as we adopt AI, ethics must guide our decisions. What ethical considerations should govern AI in finance? How should we ensure transparency, accountability, and fairness?
Okay. All right. Thanks, Frank. Like I said before, our role in finance and as finance professional is trust-based. Once we lose that trust, then we won't be able to add value to an organization. So when we embed AI in the way we work, ethical considerations is not negotiable. So I say it, as you use AI, it's not issue of I've used AI, I've put the prompts, I'm copying and pasting the response, and that's it. It doesn't work that way. So I'm going to give us some key considerations as finance professionals that is important as we embed AI into our ways of working. The first one is we need to try and eliminate bias as much as possible. We all know that AI leverages data, historical data. And if we look at those historical data and they are a reflection of certain circumstances as at that time, which are not reflection of the business as usual or what the current circumstances is. So even when you are leveraging AI, you need to be able to account for all of those circumstances and be sure that what the output is a reflection of what the current circumstance is. And you can give different examples. For example, you are doing an analysis of your costs, but the past data which you want to use to project into the future has some defects. Maybe during the period those data were accumulated or you had them, they were seasonal period or they were period of high inflation or even low cost or even weak economy. It could be anything. And of course, the season has now changed. So we need to ensure that as we get outputs driven by AI, which has leveraged historical data, we are able to ensure that those biases are eliminated so that we can actually give the accurate results that will be interpreted and will give the right insights for management decision. So it's very important to audit the basis in which AI is making those decisions so that we ensure fairness is built into what we are designing and overall the output as well. So that's the first thing. The second thing is also ability to explain the outputs. So sometimes, when we use AI, even for forecasting or for, especially for forecasting into the future, is important to also step back and check that the basis of those logic are explainable, right? AI would have considered both historical, market insights, or other insights that are available both internally and externally to give us some sort of projection. But as finance professional, what I said, our work is trust-based. We still need to go back and recheck and be sure that the logic behind that result is fair enough and considers the right circumstances and will meet the business need. So it's not sufficient to just say, I've used AI has generated the input or the output and I can trust it. No. So there's the onus is on us to check that is explainable and is transparent and is something that we can defend. Both from, and there's audit trail, even when we is subject to external scrutiny or even internal questioning, we're able to defend and provide the logic for that decision. So so it's very important that transparency becomes the anchor on how we use AI within finance. The third area is accountability. It's closely linked to explainability and transparency because we should still own it. I think that's the point here. Whether it's AI supported, AI driven, whatever outputs that is coming from finance still needs to be owned by finance. And that's why we continue to say AI would support, but it won't replace our human judgments, because we are still able to customize and fit it to the current circumstances, because we have what is happening at that moment, and we are able to tailor the outputs. So there should still be clear line of responsibility from a finance perspective to say who reviews, who signs off, who questions what are the outputs. There must be accountability for every AI generated output. So it's really a charge to finance professional. When you leverage AI, it is not copy and paste. So let me just put it that way. The AI has helped me. How are you refining it? How are you reviewing the output to be sure that it's fit for purpose? Who is questioning the logic behind what has been done to be sure that it really meets our purpose and it meets all the ethical consideration, so that we don't have some of the issues that have been mentioned before. And the final one I would like to talk about is data privacy, right? As we leverage AI, of course, open source is not advisable, but if we do find ourselves using some of the open source of AI, maybe due to financial constraints, we need to be sure of the data privacy and security requirement, so that sensitive data are not put out there for people to have access to. So we need to ensure that if there are regulations that guides data privacy within West Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, we are complying with those regulations. And of course, as professional, we continue to learn as new regulations are also coming on board, to be sure that we are also integrating our knowledge. So I would say, in summary, ethical consideration in using AI in finance is not negotiable. 4 things matters. You need to be fair in terms of the outputs. You need to ensure that it is transparent, you own it, and data privacy and security is top of mind to you. If we get this right, I believe that we can build the trust that is required for finance professional in leveraging AI, and we can actually unlock the full potential of AI in finance to build efficiency and deliver value to the organization. So thank you.
Thank you, Bolanle. To wrap up the panel discussion, I want to take an advice from all our panelists, and I want Prof to come in because he says he has another meeting. So, Prof, looking at the outlook of the profession, given the rapid changes, the transformation that we've discussed, what advice would you give to accountants as there's new ways of doing things, and also to help us, stay ready for the future?
Thank you, Frank. I want to say that, people react to new things different ways. There are those who pretend nothing is happening. There are those who know, well, things are happening, but I don't think I have what it takes to. What I want to draw everyone's attention, okay, is that we should not be ignorant of the rapid changes all over the place. And as accounting and finance professionals, we need to be aware of that and follow the changes. How we respond to that is also very, very important, okay? We respond to that through continuous professional development, capacity building. In fact, someone said, let me be more specific, Henry Ford, he said that what? You stop learning only when you are dead. So anyone who stops learning will be a dead person. So accounting and finance people, the future is that we must keep learning. And again, I learned something from one academic person, who also put this particular thing in this particular statement in perspective. They said that very often than not, we tend to blame the one teaching and not ourselves. So he concluded and said that the success, okay, of learning is not a teacher, but the success of learning is the learner, the activity of the learner. So I want to encourage everyone to keep learning resources all over the place. And I'm sure with all the information that we have shared with you, you should be able to make some progress. Thank you once again, and God bless us all.
Thank you, Prof. So Bolanle and Randolph, maybe we can take 1 minute advice.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should just go on. I know we've talked about AI and all of that. I think one advice I would like to give finance professional is our business communication skills. Recently, and it's not, I mean, something that we've been saying, we've been advising a lot of emerging corporates. And one of the feedback is I have finance leaders, I have professionals, but when they explain to me, they talk to me in technical terms that I don't understand, right? And of course, I need to understand how my business is doing, what I should put in place, and all of that. He even shared some of the reports that his finance team sent to him. And of course, as a finance professional myself, I see that all the information that he requires are in that document. But the way we have presented it, I mean, the way the team has presented it is not clear. And the way the finance leader at that time, I also spoken to him about the report as well, has a lot of technical jargons which were not clear to him. So one advice or one to my fellow colleagues is in the finance of today and of the future, we are business partners and we need to speak the business language. Yes, understanding IFRS is important. Understanding income statements is important. But when you have those knowledge and you're not translating it in a format that the business understands, then it's not useful to them. So we are business partners and we need to be able to improve how we tell data, how we tell our stories around the financials that we generate. Are we using enough visualization to generate our report, or is just Excel that are very, I mean, clumsy and not reader friendly? So I would say 2 skills: improve our visualization capability for reporting, and of course, business communication, so that it's more impactful and is more business oriented rather than technical oriented. I think that's one advice I would like to just mention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bolali. Raindorf.
Thank you, Frank. So I'll just quote something that Darwin, that's attributed to Darwin. It says that it wasn't the strongest of the species that survived, neither was it the most intellectual of the species that survived, but the species that were adaptable to change. For us in finance and accounting, change will continue to be there. We are seeing a lot of changes happening. From what we have discussed today, now a lot of emphasis is also on ESG and stuff like that. Change is the constant factor. Therefore, we need to embrace change. We need to see how we can leverage the things that are coming to our advantage. Most of these things that are coming are to our advantage. So if you're a finance profession here, for me, be open to the change, embrace the change, and see how you can leverage the change to move to the next level. If you don't do that, then Bolanle has stated earlier, like in the case of AI, it is not that AI is coming to replace. Those who are using it, they will be relevant. If you are not using it, you go extinct. Just imagine if today you're an accountant here and you say, oh, for you, you don't want to learn how to use computer. You will not get any job to do. Sure, some time ago when computing was coming, it was like that. The same way when accounting softwares were coming, it was like that. People were like, oh, I will still stick to my ledgers, the book, and all of that. Today, nobody will go and give opportunity to an accountant like that. So for us, our profession will continue to evolve. And if we want to be relevant, we need to embrace change and prepare ourselves so that we will continuously stay relevant. Thank you.
Thank you, Raindorf. And it looks like everybody is quoting, so maybe I would also give a quote. And on top of my mind, Ecclesiastes 1:9 says that there's nothing new under the sun. So yes, as it has been indicated, let's embrace the change very well. So the panel discussion has concluded, and thank you very much, Raindorf, Bonali, and Prof. Simpson. Now is the time for our audience to also ask us questions. So the floor is open. You may hit the raise hands button to catch my attention, and I'll call you. In the meantime, there are some questions. I've seen a question in the chat box that I'll read out, and I'll direct it to Raindorf. So the question says that with the rapid advancement of AI, automation, and continuous auditing tools. Do you think we are gradually moving towards a point where the audit profession could, in future, provide absolute assurance on financial statements? Or will professional judgment and inherent limitations always constrain us to reasonable insurance? The person said this is just a thought on discussion and Randolph. So the person in the name of Ola Dijo Ola Dipu. So Randolph, please, you may take it.
All right, thank you, Frank. We are moving to a level where even audit firms are leveraging, and even for us as KPMG, we are leveraging AI in what we do. All right, but I think judgment will not go away. Judgment has always been as a part of the accounting profession, right? And so for that, even though we're leveraging technology and all of that, that's something that AI may still see as a challenge to replace humans. AI can bring perspective and all of that, but there are standards that even as at now, they're still some subject to some judgment. And there are other things that will still be subject to some judgment. However, what will happen is that there will be a lot of extensive auditing. So if I say extensive, the era where we were sampling and all of that, we are getting to an era where we may be able to do, let's say, maybe 100%. Because if we plug into your system and we have all the data, the agentic tools that we are using can go through all of that data. But it will still be difficult for an audit firm to say 100% everything is right, because it may be subject to, be prone to error. And so the judgment will always be there, and it will be difficult for any audit firm to tell you that I have done everything and it is 100%, or everything is right. That assurance, I think we still we are not probably there yet, because the information that we are auditing, whether it's an AI tool that is doing all of that, who has reviewed it? It may be prone to errors. And for that reason, I think that it will be difficult for any, you would say, I've done 100% in terms of the sample, but to give assurance that everything is right, it may be difficult. So judgment will continue to exist from where I sit. And I think that giving 100% assurance may be difficult.
Thank you very much, Randolph. Is there any other question? We have about 2 minutes to end the session. Do we have, okay, Cosmos, please, you may have the floor. Let me mute. Okay, Cosmos, kindly check if you can unmute and speak. Okay, Ben, you may take the floor.
Probably they can't
Okay.
unmute.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything. Maybe we'll just.
Okay. So, okay. Okay. Well, our time is even up. So, in the interest of time, thank you all very much for joining this session. Essentially, we learned that innovation is an opportunity and also a challenge. Transformation demands new rules and skills. And resilience relies on risk management and ethics. The conversation wouldn't end today, would continue, and we need to connect and share more of our perspectives. Christiana, can we move to the next slide? We have on the next slide feedback form that we would really appreciate if you would fill it to give us feedback. Please, I can move to the next slide. Okay. Okay. Then it's from my end. Yeah. So with the QR code that we have, I really appreciate if you can, you could scan and give your feedback. Thank you all very much for joining this session, especially the panelists, Randolph, Bolali, Prof. We really appreciate this opportunity and the kind of thing that you've taught us. I think it will be with us for the rest of our life. And if we also get opportunity to also share our perspective, we will have a lot of what has been said today. We are really grateful. Thank you all. Thank you all who joined us, external people. Thank you very much. And God bless us all. Let's all enjoy the rest of our day.